When I was first approached by a young boy confessing his porn addiction to me, I was certain that he's either insane or joking. Never did I think for a moment that porn, sexual relationships, and masturbation would turn to some kind of addiction, a compulsive behavior that could easily ruin your entire life. Later on, after delving into my research in this area, I realized the intensity of the problem and why so many addicts have thought of even ending up their lives because they couldn't bear the pressure the pornography causes. And perhaps you are one of those who were hooked on porn for years and looking for a solution. But in order for you, and even for those who are not addicted, get the best understanding of the subject, then we should all comprehend how addiction to pornography works. Because the more you know, as I always say, the more you know, the more you grow. The more you get acquainted of what's happening, the most likely your resistance will increase and you'll be able in the long run to beat up this compulsive habit. First of all, this has nothing to do with being religious or not. Anyone could be hooked on porn due to so many circumstances. Maybe you were harassed sexually when you were young, or came across some images that made you so curious and as a result you started to watch again and again. Or perhaps you have seen your role models watching porn and so you started imitating them. Maybe your spouse has less interest in sexual intimacy and as a result you found pornography to be an alternative, and so on. So whether you are a religious person or not, Muslim or otherwise, addiction does not know faith. Addiction to pornography is an intensive tool that could easily make you a slave to your own desire. Pornography, if it is not fought against, could make you lose control over your own action. Many people argue about the definition of pornography and what is it really. Well, here's how I see it. Pornography are these images that teach you how to use strangers' images, films that you watch, other people's filthy practices and actions for your own temporary sexual pleasures. Without partners, without emotions, without love, without connection with any real person. It does rely entirely on fantasy and illusion. So instead of engaging sexually with your partner, with your spouse, pornography loves isolation and loves selfish pleasure. So the question now is, how did it become addictive? Just like any other addictive substance, pornography followed the same pattern. First is the exposure to these materials, then your brain will immediately register this activity. Hormones like dopamine will be fired up to remind you of this activity. You will be trying to resist because you know it is wrong. You know it's wrong. Then justification will be presented by your unconscious mind, something like, at least it is better than adultery, it is better than zina. Then you go ahead anyways, unwillingly, and start browsing porn. And of course, in a split of a second, then you experience this temporary and instant pleasure. And then comes a dark period of shame and guilt, which is much longer, by the way, much longer than the pleasurable one. What have I done? You'll start asking yourself, am I a hypocrite? How I wish I could have never done such, and so on and so forth. Then you start promising yourself never to access porn again. But after a few days, weeks, or even months, you relapse and go around the same cycle again and again for years. Now you should ask yourself, is that really something I wanted to repeat for the rest of my life? Is this how I wanted to end up my life? Isn't it time to say no to my desires and develop new, healthy, and uplifting habits to replace the bad ones? The good news is that our brain is capable of rewiring itself and adapting new habits, so the choice will always be yours. But without starting out your journey of recovery, nothing is ever going to change.
Download our mobile applications or register on our official website to get access to exclusive content.